Hi, my name is Dr. Karen Sheridan. I'm a clinical psychologist and doctoral behavior analyst, and I'm the owner of Access Autism Testing and Consultation. And today I'm here for another research recap, and the name of our article is The Presentation and Classification of Anxiety and Autism Spectrum Disorder, and it's in the Clinical Psychology Science and Practice Journal from 2012. And I'm just going to go over some high points from the article. It discusses at length this relationship between anxiety and autism and level of functioning. A lot of people might think that people that are higher functioning with autism are more likely to have anxiety, but this study was saying that relationship is inconsistent. However, there was a study that they cited where people with autism and with or without an intellectual disability were equally likely to show specific phobia and social phobia. However, separation anxiety, panic-like anxiety, and generalized anxiety were more likely to occur in people with autism with higher IQs. There's also studies that found that people with autism and their relatives were more likely to have anxiety than typical children and their relatives, and even children with other developmental delays and their relatives. Now, specific phobias that are more likely to occur in autism are fear of the dark, fear of storms, fear of loud noises, fear of crowded spaces, and fear of closed spaces are all more likely in the autism population. Also, they made a point about repetitive behaviors in autism being misattributed to OCD. And that often happens because in OCD, you have a distressing thought, like, if I get germs, I'm gonna die. And you try to relieve that distressing thought by engaging in a compulsive behavior like washing your hands 10 times. Whereas in autism, you might engage in repetitive behavior like hand flapping or twirling or spinning in circles. And a lot of people with autism report that either helps relieve distress, they enjoy engaging in it, or it's a comfort to them. So you can see how with the different disorders, those repetitive behaviors have kind of different functions versus autism and OCD. Now, other points that were made here: hyperactivity, social skills deficits, inappropriate speech, and perseverative speech were all related with heightened anxiety in people with autism. And it was unclear as to whether these behaviors were actually manifestations of anxiety or if they're actually precursors to anxiety for people with autism. Another point they made was repeated social failures often caused people with autism more anxiety and they were more likely to avoid social situations in the future. I've seen this in my own practice. I had a parent tell me that one of their children had one friend and they were over for a sleepover, and that child said something inappropriate or socially awkward to the friend, and the friend never wanted to come over again. So that was a social failure that now is making this child reluctant to engage in social situations because of that kind of history. So if you are seeking clarification on whether you have anxiety versus autism, we would love to help you with that here at AATC. Please give us a call at 225-285-3956 or send us an email at accessautismtesting@gmail.com. Thank you. Bye.